Good afternoon to everyone. As is introduced, I am Dr. 𝗕𝗏𝗂𝗏. I had an opportunity to walk in the largest part of the Eastern Ghats, that is known as the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. So far, the previous speakers were, especially our Dr. 𝗕𝗶𝘂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, he was telling that, in his talk, things are written but not translated on the ground. Yes, he is right, because throughout the world, lots of conventions are happening, lot of literature is being generated, but how far are these solutions or the recommendations of various committees with respect to the environment is being translated onto the ground? Here is one of such experiments. As back as 25 years back, I had done, because I was in touch with international organizations, international conventions, conferences, whatever I could able to grasp from these conventions, then I started implementing these things on land. I was working in India's largest tiger reserve, or the sanctuary, of course, that is 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Tiger Reserve, which is an exemplary model of what biodiversity was being talked of, much about it. Yes, but since the time is very little, because of the paucity of time, I may not justify my talk full length. If time permits, in the afternoon also, we will continue what kind of good practices we have already done in 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 areas. If you look at this, you see this scenery, a beautiful ecological scenic spot. It's in a very 100 kilometers distance from Hyderabad. Such kind of scenic spots existing in 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏s, if we can go into some of these inaccessible areas, wonderful really. If you want to go to some ravines of Colorado, if you want to go to Switzerland kind of thing, all those kinds of scenic spots are available. This is one of a beautiful habitat for the biodiversity. You see, look at this scenery. We have tall, lofty kind of trees we have. We have waterfalls, good number of waterfalls all around within the periphery of the sanctuary, and excellent scenic spots which are really good for developing excellent ecotourism spots. If you look at such a wonderful land is being whittled away just because of the demand for the wood, demand for the fuel, demand for the other minor forestry produce, what we say NTFP, non-timber forest produce. One side, lots of felling was happening, taking advantage of the presence of the extremists in the area during late 80s and early 90s, which was the biggest hurdle for us to tackle the issue. Unless you tackle the issues at the origin, we can protect the biodiversity of the region. That is the biggest challenge before we could able to deliver any good practices in this area or translate anything that has been recommended at world over by the specialists, but that is not possible. Because of our interventions with good practices, I think we made it possible to bring the entire episode into normalcy. See, look at this, the bottom. There used to be heavy felling in these areas. Every year, not less than 150 crores of wood loss, we have estimated it. People used to fell the trees cut the trees, kill the animals. That was the order of the day. Because of the support, people felt from the extremists in that area. So, then what is the alternative? One side is the livelihood problem, other side is natural resource management problem. So, if trees are lost, what kind of damage occur? That has been discussed already by my predecessors, speakers, and I don't need to elaborate on that particularly. Take for an example, along the coast, we have a long coastline about 7,000 kilometers length for the entire country, about 900 kilometers for Andhra Pradesh coastal area. And coastal areas are excellent habitats for the mangrove forests. If mangrove forests are lost, what happens? Mangroves comes only in the coastal region, that is where freshwater rivers meet the ocean. If these forests are lost, see in the other side, if there is a tsunami, I think all the coastal cities of the country will be submerged. Already we have been experiencing, because of the climate change, flooding, excess flooding, and it is not very far out. We are in direct alignment with the Sunda Trench. Already we have experienced in 2004, because of the subduction of the Sumatran plate. What happened? We experienced this tsunami, loss of lives, loss of properties, and many people have to go on migration. That was the condition. So tree felling not only create that kind of submersion, also it creates extremities, wow rainfall or no rainfall. Wow rainfall again, loss of property, loss of lives, loss of everything. And extreme droughts, no employment, people have to go on migration, no livelihoods. These are these are the most pertinent challenges of the human beings, especially a country like India. See, if we have the enough rainfall, that gives us a good crop. Good crop means good yield, good bread, good life. So it is not very far off because of the loss of natural resources, because of the climate change, where every one of us have to move with the oxygen cylinders at our back. If that is the case, how many of us could able to survive on this planet? Not even the Bill Gates, not even the President of America. Everyone have to be surrendered before the challenges. If that is the case, if the trees are lost and soil is eroded, there is no mechanism to absorb the water or infiltration of water into the soils, thereby losing the recharge of the waters. You see, the other side you are saying that because of the presence of these trees, they are stopping tsunamis entering into the landmass. So that's how they cut the waves to the bottom and they protect us. This is another beautiful natural resources available for us because of the wanton destruction, because of the pollution created by the anthropogenic pollution created by the human beings. We are losing this precious resource. How to respect, how to bring them into the safe property. So these are all being because of the man-animal conflict. Man and animal conflict. So people ask us, animals are wild, they are cruel, why should we protect these things? These are the indicator species. They are not useless. These are the products of the nature like us. we are also product of the nature. So anything that has been created in this nature, designed by the nature with a purpose. Without any purpose, nothing is existing on this planet. Even the boulders are very valuable. They give rise of the soil. Soil, we think that it's a non-living thing. Living things are depending on the non-living things. Without non-living things, there are no living things. So what happens? Tiger is a cruel animal. Why don't you kill it? Yes, you are right. But let us examine. See, look at this. Tigers naturally kill the natural prey base like deers, other prey animals. If this prey is not there because of our killing, what happens? They don't find any prey base in the forest. They enter into the villages, kill the cattle, not the human beings. That's what the nature has given a gift to the human beings. Human beings are not the prey animals to these wild animals. We are prey to the natural disasters, not to the predatory animals. All these predatory animals, they respect the human beings. That's the two-legged animals. When it kills unnatural prey base like buffaloes, cattle that enter into the forest for grazing and all that, what happened? The herdsman put pesticides, and after eating that, these animals are being killed, and as a result, what is happening? We are losing the precious creation of the God. If that is so, a day is not very far off. Even we all will be killed because of the disappearance of all these animals. Okay, you know that a small tiny bee is responsible for the fertilization of our crops. If all these bees are killed, what happens? We don't get the crops. That is the thing. That's the reason we should be protected. We should be protected by ourselves only, not by somebody else. And because of the presence of the extremists, you see here you are seeing a team of extremists, a person in a cross belt at his back is an extremist with his gun and hands. We are conducting a meeting in a village. A team has surrounded us. So they had come and they stopped our meeting, and they wanted to know what for we are conducting a meeting and all that. So it is not easy to meet these people, and we cannot meet them also, because that time ban was lifted. These people have come into the forest villages, and during our meeting, our head of the forest force, the chief of the forest force was also there, and everybody was almost panicked, because I've been working there for the last 18 years, I was there. So because of the implementation of the good practices in these areas, we were made exception for as a target. So we had a good discussions about what we are doing and all these things. They are convinced, but they said that, sir, you cannot come and make the people to be conservationist. I grabbed an opportunity where the extremists invited all the departments, not only me, all the departments, and none of the departments have attended that meeting under this shelter of the district and state administration. But every day in and day out, we have to be there. So it is a challenge for us. Representing the Forest Service, Forest Department, I attended it, and in the evening I requested them to attend, at least give me 5 minutes time. So that 5 minutes went on to about 6 hours in the late night up to 2 o'clock, and there the people, I think, appeared to be convinced of the argument of the protecting our natural resources. That's a big story. It needs at least 24 hours time too. to discuss all these things. And these are some of the challenges we are facing to protect the natural resources, both at the terrestrial level and also at the aquatic level and marine level especially. So 3/4 of this planet is with the oceans, only 1/4 with the land mass. Both terrestrial and aquatic land mass are suffering because of the different kinds of challenges. If these challenges are not met, what will happen? These are some of the things we will have to face. So, simultaneously, there are some problems for the animals too. One of the tiger that fell in a well, that's an open well, it won't have any parapet walls. So immediately we will have to rescue that also. I was about 80 kilometers away from the site of this well, and immediately in the night I had to rush, and with the help of local people we made a ladder kind of thing, and also we have taken utmost precaution for not to get harmed by the tiger when it comes out. So a lot of precautions I taken. If you want, I think in the leisure we can discuss, or later also we can discuss as how we could able to bring the animal onto the top. So these are some of the challenges. Of course, we can also discuss later remaining. Under these circumstances, in the presence of the Naxalism and also extremism, our traditional way of dealing with things is not sufficient. It's not at all workable. Then we had to shift from regulatory mechanism to the participatory mechanism, coupled with the research and education. So that works out well. That worked out well, and because of this kind of model, it is not there anywhere. This we have designed from the circumstances. So here we made the people as the partners of the participatory partnership. We have given them for natural resource based monitoring and also protecting this thing. We have conducted about more than 2,000 villages, this kind of village meetings. We went into the villages, through the jungles, walking in the middle of the forest, through for about 50 to 100 kilometers walk, because there were landmines. We cannot go by the vehicles and all these things. We have enough challenges that time, and at least we reached almost all priority villages. We have prioritized where exactly we have to give the environmental education to the people. So we have prioritized high impact villages, medium impact villages, low impact villages. Okay. So there are enough laws are there, enough recommendations are there, lot of knowledge is there in the universities and also elsewhere. But there are no practices available, there were no models available. In absence of these things, we had to devise our own methodology, our own processes and all these things. So ultimately we find that unless we take the people, as our Professor 𝗏𝗫𝗂𝗏 was telling, unless we take the confidence of the people, I think we cannot protect the biodiversity or the forests of this country. So then we started an extensive outreach programs. So I have designed a mobile van in which it has 16 dioramas exhibiting right from the origin of the planet, origin of the origin of the species, evolutionary process, and where exactly at present we are there, and totally explaining the plight of the human beings in the coming days. So this kind of experiments, I used to take the poachers and the tree fellers into the forest where they used to fell the trees. That is my own classroom. So there people used to say that, sir, if you see this tree, this gives us 2,000 bucks. But whereas 5-member team for 5 days we work and hardly we get anything. So we have specially made an education package called Psychological Transformation through Conservation Holic Education. పర్యావరణ వ్యసన శిక్షణ ద్వారా మానసిక జాగృతీకరణ అనే ఒక ఎక్సలెంట్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ప్రాక్టీస్ వే we used to give a kind of highly sensitive kind of education, and most of these tree fellers had become, after attending this class, conservationists, much better than us. That's how our first experiment has been it was very successful. So this another package, it has been published in international magazines also. So there are many areas where the trees are felled, cut, and those areas have become degraded. They are highly degraded, and people have occupied those degraded areas, and it was highly impossible in those days to restore them back. After giving them some alternatives, I could able to retrieve the land, restore the ecology of these areas, and also made value addition to the area so that we can build up the natural and ecotourism in those areas. Now it's fetching a lot of money. So these are the things, themes, these are theme-based ecotourism facilities we made in the degraded areas. So there are lofty and high. So again, because of the restoration of the ecology of these areas, the habitat of the area has been much improved, and the animals, especially the tigers, which were supposed to be there everywhere earlier, because of the killing of these things, I think again, because of the restoration of ecology, the tiger population also increased in those areas. And of course, there are some problems because of the panthers in these areas, and we have also successfully addressed. Wherever this problem is there, we went there and we found out through the pockmark tracing and all these things, and also by darting with the guns, and it injects the animals, it sedates, and we capture the animal, and again we release back into the wilderness. And again, most of these people, they have become a strong conservationist, and we are successful not because of our own model and all these things, because we could able to develop a vast human resource, especially the tribals in those areas, tribal 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. People used to say that these people are lazy, lethargic, they don't do any kind of job. So they only wander in the forest, collect minor forest produce, they wander and stay under the trees in the nights, and again they kill a small game and all these things. That was their practice. So there was a apprehension that these people are lazy, they don't do anything. I have recruited about 600 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 tribal only for wandering in the forest. So their job is to give us the first-hand information, who are entering into the forested area, and also what is the status of various animals, and also when we release some of these animals, it is their duty to monitor them also. So ultimately we have given them uniform as a god, not designated as a god, but they are the monitors of the ecology of the area. Okay, their weapon is the bow and arrows. So they are permitted to move with this, and whenever the smugglers, they see them with bow and arrows in uniform, most of these people, they stop their illicit felling and all these things, coupled with this thing. So to know whether the ecology is improving or not, by monitoring the increased tiger population, we could come to know that population increasing. When the tiger population increase, that means the prey base, the deers and other things are increasing. When it is increasing, the soil is intact, soil is very good, soil is spongy, it infiltrates water deep into the soil and recharges underwater table and all these things. That's how the ecology on its own restores back and could able to bring back. By photographing animals, because tigers have a definite stripes pattern, like what we have the lines in our hand, like the pattern on its backs and lateral sides, that gives us no two tigers will have the same pattern. That's how we could able to start monitoring. And the government of India, the people sitting there at arm's length, cannot restore it back naturally on its own, not because of the planting of the trees, because it has a root stock. By promoting root stock, by creating some very good conditions, I think we can also bring back the lost degraded ecosystem back. Even the cabinet minister, environment minister of the government of India, he could not believe it from our words, and he himself personally had come and stayed with us for 3 days, and he was there in my class for 3 hours, and he could not believe it. What a change has been made in this area. I think it is a great model he has appreciated, and he has given us points. Can you go to this plow? Can you go to this remote area? Are there not there the extremists in that area? No problem, sir. We can go any place, any corner, any nook and corner. I can take you there. They are not going to harm the foresters now, because they have assured us, because after being convinced of my talk and all these things. Now, after he is convinced, he went there and he has given lots of help for the project to thrive well. And there are, if you look at the kind of biodiversity existing there, see, this is the hornet wasp nest, one of the rarest of the rare for bees, and because of these bees and all these things, I think the pollination is taking place, and also it gives the engineers, civil engineers, a clue as to how the civil engineering can be get the clues from the clue of this thing. You see, look at this thing. It has constructed an apartment, a multi-story apartment with well-designed pillars suiting that. It doesn't take much material for the building of the pillars, because it maintains thrift kind of thing. It conserves the material. It chews the dry material, dry leaves, and mix with the saliva, build up a kind of cementing material, and build this nest. And it has, it gives us different kinds of the thermodynamics and physics, biological designs, and also civil engineering. When I get the time at lunch, I can describe all these things, because time is very fast. And there are many unrecorded species we have recorded. New species to the world, new species to the country, new to the southern India, new to the eastern Ghats, new to those species already described the western Ghats in the eastern Ghats. Like that, apart from addressing the challenges, we are also into the research part. We made all types of biodiversity inventory, because which is not being taught in any zoology classes in the universities. So we made it, and we built up a laboratory there. If you get a chance to go to Srisailam, you can find all these things there. Also, to protecting the big oceanic mass of our country, also delve into the challenges in the oceanic side. There are big challenges from fisheries side, aquaculture side, port and shipping side, tourism side, whatnot. About 7 sectors we have identified, and also given different solutions in those areas. So, also equipped our staff with latest information, latest skill trainings, and all these things. And one side we have started enriching the habitat, other side sustainable development of the people. So we made a plan eco-development plan to the area, motivated the people, gave them training to the vast human resources of NGOs and all, and implemented, monitored, mid-term course evaluation we reviewed the. So, because of the mid-course corrections, so whether we are going in the right direction or not. So, we have developed a biodiversity research center in which we have tested biosystematic studies, ecotechnology, ecological economics, bioprospecting and eco-development practices, ethnomedico-botanical studies, bioinformatics and biomatics at GIS, at remote sensing methods and all these things, and conservation biology, park planning and management. Because of these things, we have really, these are some of the problems which every sanctuary, every national park, every natural resource management agencies, they are facing, and we have given ready-made solutions are available. We have documented, made books, big volumes, drafted about more than 10 management plans for the entire Eastern Ghats. And these are the scientific reasons. Many researchers from different parts of the country, they visited us, they are associated with us and developed. So these are some of the very important biodiversity available in those areas. Unless we protect, and all these things we will be losing. This is the fish-eating spider. It goes into the waters, build up a bubble with the oxygen and goes deep into the waters, brings it on the top of the rock and is devouring. You see, another. And there are people who are smuggling the beautiful tortoises to different Southeast Asian countries, and we could able to bring them back. We used to seize them in the airport and brought them back and rehabilitated more scientifically and all these things. From here, because there are still lots of beautiful slides are there. If time permits, I will discuss in the afternoon because I am given warning. Okay, and actually the slides hereafter, they are very valuable slides, and every one of you should know these things. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, and still many more to know it, many more learnings are there from this. Thank you.